Well, in short, I think Pete Hegseth kicked their asses today. I mean, it wasn't even close. They didn't lay a glove on Hegseth. No mistakes, calm, cool, collected. I mean, before the thing even started, you had this like Code Pink, protester freak show trying to disrupt the hearing. That's the Democratic base, by the way, which probably explains why the Democrats on the committee acted in such a bizarre and unprofessional way. I was appalled at some of the way these senators handled themselves and some of the lines of questioning. I mean, Tim Kaine sounded like a sex pervert in his questioning of Pete Hegseth. Blumenthal, who lied about his service in Vietnam, questioning Hegseth's qualifications. You had Gillibrand, you had Warren, you had Hirono going on unhinged rants about things. Angus King obviously doesn't understand what it's like to fight terrorism. On and on and on. Hegseth was cool in the face of this unhinged questioning. They made him look good today. It would be difficult for a Republican to vote against Hegseth after the Democrats' unseemly mudslinging today.
Yeah, what a day yesterday was. We talked about this on last night's live stream. It is now clear that Pete Hegseth, who was the most embattled of President Trump's nominees, it looks like it's clear sailing ahead for his Senate confirmation. All Republicans are now on board with it, and that's not good news for the Democrats or the deep state. I'm going to show you exactly how the Pete Hegseth hearings yesterday reveal precisely why the days of the deep state are indeed officially over, and they know it. We've got a new poll out that's showing that the deep state is completely freaking out. You're going to absolutely love this. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to celebrate the rise of a new golden age that you made possible back on November the 5th. And so if you want to stay up to date minute by minute, you want a front row seat on the latest on the rise of a new conservative civilizationalist age, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. 5 days, baby. 5 days into the inauguration of the new golden age that you made possible. And the deep state is freaking out. Wait until you see the latest on their last-ditch efforts, their desperate antics to try to stay in power. You're going to love it. But first, gang, let's give a huge shout-out to a true patriot company that's standing up for our values of faith, family, and freedom, and that is Patriot Mobile. I'm proud to partner with Patriot Mobile because they're on the front lines fighting for the First and Second Amendments, the sanctity of life, and our military and first responder heroes. Take a stand for conservative causes and put America first by switching to Patriot Mobile today. You'll get the same nationwide coverage as the big providers because Patriot Mobile operates across all three major networks. Plus, they back their service with a coverage guarantee. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team will find the best plan for your needs. Keep your number, keep your phone, or you can even upgrade. Go to patriotmobile.com/Turley Talks or give them a call at 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT. Right now, get a free month when you use the offer code Turley Talks. Don't get fooled by the other providers pretending to share your values or have the same coverage. They don't and they can't. Join me. Switch to America's only Christian conservative mobile provider, Patriot Mobile, today. A new poll taken among federal government workers is revealing what many are calling a last desperate effort at trying to save the deep state. The survey conducted by RMG Research found that 42% of those who work for the federal government in D.C. said that they would actively resist rather than support the incoming Trump administration. 42%. Now, I got to be honest, I had to take a step back there. I was not prepared for the 44% who said they were fully prepared to support the incoming administration. I expected something akin to 70 to 80% all in on trying to thwart President Trump like they did back in his first term, right? A week did not go by without the legacy media assuring their dwindling audience that there were moles and plants all over inside Trump's very own administration, faithfully undermining everything he was trying to do behind the scenes. Well, now they're down to just barely, nearly half. 42% are committed to doing what they can to resist and undermine number 47. But unfortunately for them, it turns out that that ship has sailed. Doge is here. the Department of Government Efficiency. And DOGE will act as a battering ram that aims to crush any and all resistance against this new era of MAGA and America First. There was no DOGE in 2016. This is so key to get. There was no DOGE. There was no Elon or RFK or Tulsi or JD coming to D.C. Seriously, Trump was on his own in 2016 in a city that was poised and determined to eat him alive. But those days are officially over, and we saw it yesterday with the Pete Hegseth confirmation hearings. The Democrats literally could not land a glove on him. You heard Scott Jennings earlier on. 4 straight hours of a Senate hearing, no bathroom breaks. The Democrats literally threw everything they had at Pete. All the filth imaginable. Tim Kaine, what happened to Tim Kaine? What a nut. That guy almost became vice president under Hillary Clinton. I mean, what an absolute despicable freak he is. They threw everything at Pete, and not one punch landed, not a single one. Pete gave such a virtuoso performance that even the ultra-rhino Senator Joni Ernst, who previously was a no to maybe on Pete's confirmation, turned into a solid yes. Doesn't matter, by the way, we're still going to primary her in 2016 because she's utterly insufferable. She's nothing more than Mitch McConnell in heels. But the key here with the Hegseth confirmation is that the Democrats demonstrated to their utter detriment publicly for everyone to see just how inconsequential, how ineffective, how frankly emasculate, and therefore vulnerable they have become. They were not just roundly defeated in their worst electoral loss in 40 years. They didn't just lose the White House, the Senate, the House, the majority of governorships and state legislatures. They are now leaderless. They are now aimless. They are now powerless. Their wokeness is now itself getting Bud Lighted. And therefore, they cannot be relied upon by unelected bureaucrats throughout permanent Washington for protection. And we saw this total vulnerability on display yesterday. You may have seen this. James O'Keefe conducted yet another successful sting, this time involving a top Pentagon advisor who revealed on hidden camera a conversation he had with what he said were a couple of retired generals about how to resist President Trump. Check it out.
What's your overall assessment of Trump?
He's a sociopathic narcissist who is only interested in advancing his name, his wealth, and his fame.
Is there anything you can do to protect American people from the stuff that he might try to do?
I'm in conversation with a couple of retired generals to try to explore what we can do.
Yeah, well, so much for being the true defenders of democracy, right? Isn't that fascinating? These Democrats, we're the true defenders of democracy. Yeah, well, regardless, the true defender of democracy, James O'Keefe, exposed that guy to the Pentagon, and boom, within hours of making that video public, Pentagon officials officially fired him.
This just in, Jamie Menina, the top advisor to the Joint Chief of Staff at the Pentagon, has been terminated. This from Joseph R. Holstead, Joint Staff Public Affairs at the Pentagon. Quote, the alleged comments by Menina do not reflect the positions of the chairman or the Joint Staff. Furthermore, the chairman looks forward to working as President-elect Donald J. Trump, principal military advisor in the next administration.
So there you have it. It looks like that anti-Trump nut will not be anywhere near D.C. for at least the next 4 years and beyond. But that's the key to all of this. This isn't 2016 anymore. This is what you've got to get. And this most certainly is not 2020, obviously. We have to remember that back in 2016, Trump literally had no friends on Capitol Hill. Not what Ted Cruz hated him. Right? Trump had just defeated 16 of the GOP's finest. And they all frankly despised him. Marco Rubio, Rand Paul. Ted Cruz refused to endorse him publicly at the Republican convention in 2016. They could not believe they lost to this tabloid reality TV star. So he had no friends coming into D.C. in January of 2017. In fact, it was the opposite. Now, all the establishment Republicans were like, welcome to our town, pal. Now you're on our playing field, right? We're going to show you how the game is really played and who's really in charge. This swamp is ready to swallow you alive if you don't play by our rules. And that, of course, all culminated in 2020, when, again, Trump had no friends. No one had his back when the establishment orchestrated that completely absurd COVID election, when 70% of the country voted by mail-in ballot, which even the Carter Commission concluded was the single most insecure or unsecure form of voting out there. And then after J6, I mean, forget it. Whatever handful of friends he did have left, they all turned their backs on him. They all turned them, except for Pam Bondi, who's going up for confirmation hearings today. She always had President Trump's back. God bless her. But 4 years later, how times have changed. Take a look at this tweet, because I think it really says it so perfectly. It centers on a photo of Trump with the CEO of Coca-Cola, who personally presented to Trump the first ever presidential commemorative inaugural Diet Coke. Now, this tweet noted something absolutely extraordinary. 4 years ago, no mainstream corporation would go near Donald Trump. Quite the contrary, he was being canceled everywhere. Now, they're presenting to him in person at Mar-a-Lago presidential commemorations from their own product lines. And this X account summarized this picture perfectly. Quote, "We are witnessing the greatest character arc in history." Bullseye. Bullseye. 4 years ago, no major corporation would go near Trump. Now they are literally presenting to him personally a commemorative issue of their own product line. We are witnessing the single greatest character arc in history. 8 years ago, Trump entered Washington with minimal political power in the midst of a city full of enemies. And look at what he was able to accomplish, given that. It's astonishing. Now he returns to Washington, D.C., literally as a conquering Caesar, with more political power and clout than any modern president has ever been able to amass in modern political history. Ready to flood the city with adoring friends and MAGA faithful through the sledgehammering efforts of Doge. Now it is Trump who's setting the rules. Now in 2025, it's Trump calling the shots. And senatorial and congressional Republicans, as we're seeing now time and time again, they are the ones who are bending the knee. And so federal employees could try to resist Trump all they want. What we've learned since November 5th, because of what you did, all such resistance is indeed utterly futile.
Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. This will truly be the golden age of America.